Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today, we're exploring the fascinating life and career of Warren Buffett, as detailed in Alice Schroeder's comprehensive biography, The Snowball. This book isn't just a dry recounting of financial transactions, it's a deep dive into the personality, relationships, and philosophies that shaped one of the most successful investors in history. The book's title, The Snowball, is a metaphor for Buffett's life, illustrating how small sums, diligently accumulated and wisely invested, can compound over time into an enormous fortune. This concept is introduced early in the book, when a young Warren, just 6 years old, starts selling chewing gum, representing the first few cents earned and saved. Later, the adult Warren describes how these earnings became the first snowflakes in a snowball of money to come. His snowball also includes people and experiences, not just money. The book opens with Warren Buffett at age 72 in his Omaha office, surrounded by mementos of his career. He encourages the author to use the less flattering version of events when discrepancies arise. This sets the stage for a candid exploration of Buffett, warts and all. One such less flattering moment occurs at the Sun Valley Conference in 1999, where Buffett delivers a speech predicting a long period of mediocre stock market returns, a message that is poorly received by many of the tech-focused attendees. Buffett's relationship with his longtime business partner, Charlie Munger, is a key theme. The two are described as Siamese twins practically, sharing a similar physical appearance, intellectual approach, and commitment to rationality. While Buffett enjoys pleasing people, Munger prioritizes respect and is unafraid of being disliked. Despite their shared philosophies, Munger encourages Buffett to move beyond a purely quantitative cigar butt approach to investing, favored by Buffett's mentor, Ben Graham, and to focus on great businesses with enduring competitive advantages. The book traces Buffett's family history back to his 17th century ancestor, John Buffett, a French Huguenot weaver who fled to America to escape religious persecution. The urge to preach is described as a Buffett family trait, along with a certain tight-fistedness. Buffett's grandfather, Ernest, is portrayed as a demanding, penny-pinching grocer who instilled in his grandson a deep aversion to both hard work and waste. Buffett's complicated relationship with his mother, Layla, profoundly shaped him. While outwardly appearing the perfect wife and mother, Layla subjected her children to unpredictable verbal tirades. Warren's childhood insecurity and desperate need to be liked are attributed to Layla's rages. He learned to cope by emotionally shutting down, hiding at friends' houses, and seeking out surrogate mother figures among his aunts and friends' mothers. From an early age, Buffett displayed a fascination with numbers, collecting bottle caps, stamps, and coins, and memorizing statistics from the World Almanac. His entrepreneurial spirit manifested early, too. He sold chewing gum, delivered newspapers, and, with his friend Stu Erickson, collected and resold used golf balls. As a teenager, he ran a pinball machine business with his high school friend Don Danley and engaged in various petty scams and thefts. Buffett's education was a mixed bag. He excelled in some subjects and was bored by others. His teachers often found him disruptive and difficult. He showed little interest in team sports, preferring activities like ping pong and bolo that he could do on his own. At the University of Pennsylvania, he struggled to fit in socially and alienated his roommate with his sloppiness and obsession with Al Jolson. However, he did find his footing eventually, becoming president of the Young Republicans and discovering his talent for public speaking through the Dale Carnegie method. Carnegie's influence is so profound that Buffett credits the Dale Carnegie course as the most important degree he ever received. The lesson he took from it was the importance of having a system for getting along with people. Buffett, ever the data-driven investor, even ran statistical tests of Carnegie's rules, meticulously keeping track of how others responded to his behavior. Buffett's investing career took off after he discovered Benjamin Graham's book, The Intelligent Investor. He enrolled in Graham's seminar at Columbia Business School, where he became the star pupil. Graham, however, initially declined to hire Buffett due to a policy of hiring only Jewish employees at Graham-Newman. Undeterred, Buffett returned to Omaha and worked as a stockbroker, while continuing to pursue a job at Graham Newman and diligently researching companies. Buffett's personal life took a major turn when he met and married Susan Thompson. Susie, a warm, outgoing, and unconventional woman, contrasted sharply with Buffett's family. She recognized his underlying insecurity and devoted herself to fixing him and building his self-confidence. Susie's influence is described as profound, literally saving his life. Their relationship was unusual, however. While Warren worked long hours researching and investing, Susie took care of the household and the children. In 1956, Buffett started his first investment partnership, Buffett Associates Limited, with 7 partners, mostly family and friends. He charged a performance-based fee, similar to a hedge fund. He operated the partnership initially from his home, focusing on undervalued cigar butt stocks and managing every detail of the business himself. As the partnership grew, he began to take on more complex investments, often involving control situations like Sanborn Map and Dempster Mill manufacturing. These episodes brought to light Buffett's talent for orchestrating deals, his skill at leveraging his network of friends and business associates, and his growing dislike for confrontation and public animosity. As Buffett's wealth grew, his interest in philanthropy and social causes became more pronounced. Susie played a key role in this, encouraging his involvement in civil rights and introducing him to activists and philanthropists like Joe Rosenfield. Buffett became a trustee of Grinnell College, where he met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. King's message of nonviolent resistance and social justice deeply affected Buffett, as did the social unrest and racial violence of the late 1960s. Buffett's growing fame and influence brought him into contact with Katharine Graham, publisher of The Washington Post. Initially wary of Buffett, Graham eventually became a close friend and confidant, relying on him for business advice and introducing him to the world of Washington power and high society. Their relationship, while described as a friendship, was complicated by Susie's insecurities and fueled gossip. Susie's unhappiness led her to move to San Francisco, where she pursued a singing career and other interests. She and Warren remained married, however, and maintained an unusual but amicable arrangement in which Susie Jr. took over as family manager in Omaha. Susie later encouraged Astrid Menks, an acquaintance who worked in a restaurant in Omaha, to look after Warren. Menks eventually moved in with him, with Susie's apparent approval. This unusual arrangement added another layer of complexity to Buffett's already complicated personal life. The 1980s brought new challenges and opportunities for Buffett. He continued to acquire businesses for Berkshire Hathaway, including the Nebraska Furniture Mart, a deal struck with Rose Blumkin, an 89-year-old Russian immigrant who had built the largest furniture store in North America. The Blumkin episode brought out Buffett's fondness for larger-than-life personalities and his skill at striking deals based on trust and shared values. He also made major investments in Salomon Brothers, an investment bank, and Coca-Cola, moves that brought him both enormous profits and considerable heartache. Buffett faced several crises during the 1990s. The Salomon Brothers Treasury bond scandal tested his reputation and his leadership skills. He took over as interim chairman, cleaned house, and imposed a new culture of ethics and compliance on the firm. The experience, while costly and personally draining, reinforced his belief in the importance of integrity and transparency in business. He also weathered the dot-com bubble, refusing to invest in technology stocks despite widespread criticism, a stance that ultimately vindicated his long-standing investment philosophy. The bursting of the tech bubble solidified his reputation as an oracle, whose contrarian views, although often unpopular, were invariably proven right. During the post-bubble era, Buffett continued to acquire businesses for Berkshire Hathaway while becoming increasingly outspoken on social and political issues. He criticized the Bush administration's tax policies, arguing that they unfairly favored the rich, and spoke out against excessive executive compensation, calling for greater transparency in corporate accounting. His populist views, while earning him the enmity of some, enhanced his reputation as a man of principle and integrity. He predicted, through articles and speeches like that at Sun Valley in 2001, that the after effects of the bubble would linger for many years. Susie Buffett died in 2004 after a long battle with oral cancer. Her death marked a profound turning point in Buffett's life, bringing out a new depth of emotion and a greater willingness to express his feelings. He began to give larger amounts of money to his children and grandchildren for philanthropic purposes. He also started to spend more time with them, recognizing the importance of family relationships. In 2006, Buffett announced that he would give most of his fortune to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a decision that reflected both his admiration for the Gates' philanthropic work and his evolving views on wealth and social responsibility. The gift, unprecedented in its size and scope, cemented Buffett's legacy as not only one of the greatest investors in history, but also as a philanthropist who believed in using his wealth to improve the lives of others. The money was not to be used simply for feel-good philanthropy, but rather for problems that could be solved. He urged a rational cost-per-life-saved approach, for the same reason that he measured Berkshire's results. Buffett continued to make shrewd investments for Berkshire while navigating the financial crisis of 2008. He stepped in to help rescue troubled financial institutions, offering loans and taking on distressed assets. He also increased his investments in foreign currencies and foreign stocks. All the while, however, his investment philosophy remained unchanged. "Risk," he said, "is not knowing what you're doing. I don't do that." The life history of Buffett presented in the Snowball, however, suggests otherwise. Although risk-averse from the moment that he shorted Kaiser Fraser in 1950 to the present, Buffett had been an opportunist. In every investment and in every business venture, as he repeatedly said, he looked for an edge, and the best opportunities usually came from times of crisis. In 2006, Berkshire Hathaway's stock price crossed the $100,000 mark for the first time, an extraordinary milestone for an American company. Buffett's personal fortune exceeded $60 billion, making him one of the wealthiest men in the world. He continued to work, even while delegating more responsibility to others. He added new directors to Berkshire's board, including Bill Gates, and advertised for investment managers to succeed Lou Simpson and for new board members. The search to replace Buffett, however, continued to challenge Berkshire's shareholders. All along the way, Buffett continued to live modestly and to express his gratitude to all those who had helped him. The most recent and still unfolding events in Buffett's life, the trial of former General Re executives for fraud and conspiracy in connection with an AIG reinsurance transaction, are detailed in the book's afterword, along with the book's author's involvement as a witness. This episode, which continues through the date of the book's publication, carries echoes of Salomon and underscores how Buffett's worldview is being gradually reshaped by a new legal and enforcement environment, in which taking the high road no longer necessarily assures a lighter penalty. The Snowball concludes with Warren at age 77, still actively engaged in business and philanthropy. He continued to travel, to speak to students, to write his shareholder letters, and to look for new investment opportunities. He described himself as just starting out. The book's main takeaway: success, even for the greatest investor of all time, is a journey, not a destination. Easy to remember heuristics. The Snowball. Small sums, diligently saved and wisely invested, compound over time into enormous fortunes. Inner scorecard versus outer scorecard. Live by your own values, not by others' expectations. Circle of competence. Stay within your area of expertise. Margin of safety. Build in a cushion for error. Mr. Market. Don't let the market's whims dictate your investment decisions. Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. Time is the friend of the wonderful business, the enemy of the mediocre. It's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. Rule number 3, don't go into debt. He who dies rich, dies disgraced. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.